Look down for a second. Seriously, what are you wearing right now? When you meet someone brand new, what do you think speaks the loudest about who you are? Is it your posture? Maybe your smile? Well, psychology actually tells us that out of all these things, your clothing creates the absolute strongest first impression. It literally speaks before you even say a single word.
Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to unpack the chapter on the deep psychology and the incredibly functional necessity behind our clothing. We're going to prove that what we put on our bodies is far more than just fashion. It's a seriously powerful tool for survival, identity, and personal development.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The purpose of clothing. 2. Factors influencing wardrobe choices. 3. Children's basic clothing needs. 4. Dressing through the ages. And 5. Clothing for special needs.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the purpose of clothing.
Let's dive right in by establishing the fundamental reasons we wear clothes in the first place. It goes way beyond just grabbing a random shirt out of the closet. Our clothing essentially serves 4 main functions. First up, there's modesty. And this is entirely shaped by the society we live in, right? What's modest in one culture might totally not be in another. Second is protection. We absolutely need a physical barrier from harsh weather, dirt, and physical harm. Think of a firefighter's heavy gear or a hockey player's pads. Third, status and prestige. Throughout history, clothing has been a massive indicator of economic standing, although today, mass-market apparel kind of acts as a social class leveler. And finally, adornment. That's just the universal, intrinsic human drive to decorate our bodies.
Moving right along to Section 2, factors influencing wardrobe choices.
So, we know why we wear clothes, but what actually dictates what we choose to buy? When we categorize trends, especially for growing adolescents, we really have to draw a sharp line between a fad and fashion. A fad is highly exaggerated and very short-lived. Like a quirky accessory everyone wears for a month and then completely forgets about. Fashion, however, has a much broader, more enduring contemporary appeal. Our choices are heavily influenced by these trends, but also by our age, the climate we live in, and of course, our income levels.
All right, Section 3, Children's Basic Clothing Needs.
When we shift the spotlight to children, a really common mistake is treating them like little dolls to be decorated for our own satisfaction rather than focusing on their actual developmental needs. Every single feature of their clothing should serve a specific purpose. For example, front openings and large buttons aren't just there to look cute. They actually allow a child to dress themselves, which builds vital self-reliance and confidence. And bright colors? Those are actually for safety. They make a highly active child easily visible to parents and to motorists. Raglan sleeves and adjustable straps give them comfort while allowing for rapid physical growth, and flat seams with super durable fabrics, well, that means comfort for the kid's sensitive skin and delightfully easy care for the parents.
Now, instead of just buying clothes that are 3 sizes too big, which, by the way, is actually quite unsafe because loose fabrics can easily catch on objects or even catch fire around cooking areas, the crucial point here is to buy clothes that explicitly grow with the child. Garments with adjustable straps, tucks that can be let out, and fabrics that refuse to shrink are absolutely the smart, safe investments here.
Which brings us to Section 4, dressing through the ages.
Let's look at how these needs radically evolve as a child gains mobility. We can track a child's journey toward total independence through 5 distinct phases: infancy, the creeping age, preschool, elementary, and finally adolescence. At every single stage, the physical and social demands on their apparel completely change. Let's break these down.
Starting with infants, from 0 to 6 months. At this stage, the baby is mostly just feeding, sleeping, and eliminating. Warmth, comfort, and hygiene are really the only things that matter. We need soft fabrics with easy front openings so you don't have to slip anything over their delicate little heads. And here is a massive rule. Strictly avoid dangerous drawstrings around the neck. Safety and softness are paramount.
Pairing these simple, comfortable garments with highly absorbent diapers paints a real picture of infant care. Whether parents are using traditional gauze, bird's-eye cotton, or pre-shaped modern diapers, the clothing absolutely must allow for incredibly easy access for those frequent, round-the-clock changes.
Okay, so when the child hits 6 months to a year, they enter the creeping and walking age. They're pulling themselves up, they're exploring. At this point, shoes become the single most critical safety gear they will ever own. A proper toddler shoe needs a flexible sole with a 1/8 inch thick rough bottom for grip and a puffy toe area. Since their foot bones are still very, very soft, a poorly fitted shoe can actually cause long-term injury.
As kids transition out of the toddler phase, notice the stark contrast between a preschooler and an elementary student. A 3 to 5-year-old preschooler needs flat seams and easy-to-use buttons to encourage that I-can-do-it-myself independence. But by the time they hit 6 to 11 years old in elementary school, the focus violently shifts. They are highly active, playing sports, engaging in rough-and-tumble play. They desperately need rugged, durable sportswear, and they start to strongly resent clothing that doesn't fit right or feels restrictive.
And then we hit adolescence. 12 years and up, the game completely changes. By this stage, fit and style entirely overshadow fabric quality or durability. Clothing transforms into the ultimate social tool. For teenagers, dressing the way their peers are dressed or imitating their role models is a profound sign of their struggle for a sense of identity. It's a highly emotional, deeply psychological phase of wardrobe selection.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, Clothing for Special Needs. So, how do we adapt apparel to empower children with specific physical limitations? For children with disabilities, the ability to dress oneself brings us profound emotional satisfaction and a vital sense of pride. To make this happen, their clothing requires clever engineering. We use soft fabrics like cotton or velvet to prevent skin irritation for those with limited mobility. We add structural reinforcements in areas that might rub against calipers or wheelchairs, and to make dressing easier, we rely on wider necklines, elastic waistbands, and we swap out those difficult buttons for Velcro or zippers looped with keychains so they can be easily grasped. It's really all about merging aesthetic appeal with essential, life-changing functionality.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself this final question to reflect on everything we've covered today. Does your wardrobe serve your actual needs or just your style? From the infant needing a safe, drawstring-free shirt, to the teenager discovering their identity, to the incredible adaptations made for special needs, we've seen today that our apparel is infinitely more than just fabric. It is a lifelong tool for protection, expression, and personal growth. Keep that in mind the absolute next time you get dressed.